I realized my wife had been slowly rewriting our marriage the moment she stopped including me in her future. And the worst part? She was still talking about it like I was in it. If you had asked me how things were between us, I would have said, we're stable. Not exciting, not bad. Just stable. I was 46. Married for 19 years, 2 kids. Maya, 17, and Lucas, 14. We lived in Colorado, quiet neighborhood. Mountains in the distance, the kind of place that feels grounded. My wife, Jenna, worked in marketing. I ran a small auto shop. Long days, early mornings. The kind of life where routine becomes identity. From the outside, we looked solid. No drama, and no obvious problems. We weren't the couple people worried about. We were the couple people assumed would last. And honestly, I thought the same. Jenna used to include me in everything. Not just decisions. Her thoughts. Her plans. Even small things. Do you think we should repaint the kitchen? What do you think about this trip idea? Should we start saving for this or that? It wasn't about the answers. It was about being part of it. I mattered in the direction of her life. And for a long time, I didn't question that. But over time, something changed. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Just gradually. Jenna started making decisions without me. Small ones at first. She'd mentioned something after the fact. I signed Maya up for that program. I booked a weekend thing next month. I moved some money around for this. At first, I didn't think anything of it, because none of it felt big enough to matter. And honestly, it made things easier. Less discussion, less back and forth. I told myself, she's just taking initiative. But that wasn't it. She wasn't including me anymore. And I didn't notice when that started. That's how it happens. Not with one big change. With 100 small ones. Until one day, you realize you're no longer part of the process. Jenna didn't become distant in the way people expect. She didn't pull away emotionally. She just shifted focus. She was still present. Still kind. Still engaged. Just not with me in the same way. Our conversations became shorter. More functional. Did you call the mechanic? What time is Lucas' game? Can you grab groceries? All necessary. All empty. The deeper conversations disappeared. Not overnight. Just slowly. I noticed it, but I didn't question it. Because nothing felt broken. And when nothing feels broken, you assume everything is fine. The second change was harder to explain. Jenna stopped asking for my opinion. Not completely. Just noticeably less. And when someone stops asking what you think, you start to disappear from their decision-making. Even if you're still there. One night, we were sitting at the table. Dinner. Kids talking. Normal. Jenna said something casually. I've been thinking about moving closer to the city. That caught my attention. Really? I asked. She nodded. Yeah, it would make things easier. For who? I asked. For everything, she said. That answer felt incomplete. What do you mean? I asked. She shrugged. Work, commute, opportunities. All valid, all logical. But something about it felt off. Because it didn't feel like a discussion. It felt like a statement. Like something already decided. You've been thinking about this for a while. I asked. Yeah, she said. No hesitation. No pause. That was the moment something shifted. Because I realized something I hadn't before. She had been thinking about a major life change. Without me. And not just thinking. Planning. Without me. That thought stayed with me. Not enough to confront. But enough to sit there. Quietly. A few days later. It happened again. She mentioned something about finances. I adjusted some things so we can make it work. What things? I asked. Just savings, some accounts, nothing big. Nothing big. But it was because I hadn't been part of it. And for the first time, that bothered me. Not in a loud way. In a quiet, unsettling way. Like something was shifting under me. But I couldn't see it clearly yet. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I knew something was wrong. Because something felt off. Hard to explain. Like I was slightly out of sync with my own life. I turned over. Jenna was next to me. Facing away. Phone in her hand. Screen glowing softly. She was typing. Slow. Careful. Like every word mattered. And then, she smiled. Not big. Not obvious. Just real. The kind of smile you don't fake. I hadn't seen that directed at me in a while. The next morning, everything was normal. Coffee. Routine. Conversation. Like nothing had happened. But now, I couldn't ignore it. Because something was starting to form. Not a conclusion. Just a feeling. That I wasn't as involved in her life as I thought I was. A few nights later, I came home late. The house was quiet. Lights low. Jenna was in the kitchen. Phone on the counter. Screen lit. Unlocked. And this time, I didn't look away. I looked. I looked. Not because I was trying to catch her, but because at that point, something in me already knew I had been left out of something important. The phone was on the counter. Screen still lit. Messages open. I didn't touch it. Didn't need to. The angle was enough. The message at the top said, "I can't wait until it's just us." My chest tightened. Not sharp. Not explosive. Slow. Heavy. Because that sentence didn't belong in a marriage. Not ours. Not any version of it. Then another message came in. "You deserve a fresh start." That one felt different. Because now, it wasn't just connection. It was direction. A future. And I wasn't in it. I stepped back. Heart steady. Too steady. Because sometimes, your body doesn't react right away. It just processes. "Hey." Her voice behind me. I turned. Jenna stood in the doorway, watching me. Her eyes moved to the counter, then back to me. And in that moment, everything changed. Because she knew, not what I saw, but that I saw something. "How long have you been home?" she asked. "Just got in." Not a lie, but not the truth either. She walked past me, picked up her phone, locked it. That movement said everything. Not panic, not surprise. Control. We stood there. Same kitchen. Different reality. "I saw your messages," I said. Silence. Immediate. She didn't ask what. Didn't pretend. Didn't deny. "What did you see?" she asked. Same question. Same tone. Not fear. Prepared. "I saw enough," I said. She exhaled slowly. Looked down. Then back up. And something in her face shifted. Not guilt. Relief. That caught me off guard. Like she had been expecting this. Like this moment was already part of her plan. "How long?" I asked. She didn't hesitate. "A few months." Of course. Months. Not a mistake. Not a moment. Something that had time to grow. "And it's not just talking," I said. Not a question. She shook her head. "No. Just that. No explanation. No defense. Just truth." "Are you seeing him?" That question changed everything. Because now, there was no space left. She held my gaze. "Yes." Quiet. Clear. I nodded once. No anger. No reaction. Because at that point, I already knew. How many times? I don't know. That answer again. I almost expected it. I don't know doesn't mean not knowing. It means not wanting to define it. "Do you love him?" That question stayed in the air. Because now, this wasn't about facts. It was about meaning. She looked at me. Really looked. And for the first time, she didn't answer right away. "I don't know," she said. Of course. But this time, it felt different. Not avoidance. Conflict. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Unavoidable. "What?" I asked. That was the only question that mattered now. Not who. Not how long. Why? She leaned against the counter, like she needed something to hold her up. Then she said something I wasn't ready for. Because I already started building something else. That sentence hit harder than everything else. Because it wasn't emotional. It was structural. Building something else. A future. Without me. When? I asked. She didn't hesitate. A while ago. That answer again. Safe. Vague. "How long, Jenna?" She looked at me. Really looked. And this time, she didn't avoid it. "Before him," she said. That changed everything. Because it meant this wasn't about him. He wasn't the reason. He was the result. "You were already leaving," I said. She nodded slowly. I just hadn't said it yet. That landed. Heavy. Because now, I understood something I didn't want to understand. This wasn't a situation. It was a decision. One that had already been made. And I was just late to it. "I didn't know," I said. She nodded. I know. That answer hurt more than anything else. Because it meant this had been happening for a long time. Just not for me. "I tried," she said. And I believed her. Because I remembered. Every small moment. Every attempt. Every time she tried to include me. And I stayed on the surface. "I didn't think it was that serious," I said. She looked at me. "That's the problem." Silence. "You thought everything was fine," she added. And she was right. Because for me, nothing had broken. For her, everything already had. We stood there. Same house. Different timelines. Upstairs, I heard movement. Maya. Then Lucas. Life continuing. Normal. Except it wasn't. "Does he know about me?" I asked. "Yes." "What did you tell him?" That you're a good man. That hit harder than expected. And a husband. She didn't answer. Didn't need to. I nodded slowly, then asked the question that mattered most. Are you leaving? She didn't hesitate. Yes. That was different. No, I don't know. No middle ground. Just yes. My chest tightened. Heavy. Final. I already made that decision, she said. There it was. The truth I wasn't ready for. This wasn't something she was figuring out. It was something she had already figured out. And I was just catching up. I didn't plan it like this, she said. I nodded. Yeah, I said. Neither did I. And that was the truth. Not clean, not simple, but real. The worst part wasn't that there was someone else. It was that she had already built a version of her future where I didn't exist. She had already built a version of her future where I didn't exist. That was the part that stayed with me. Not the messages, not even the fact that there was another man, but the realization that I was still living inside something she had already walked out of, just without physically leaving yet. Jenna stood across from me in the kitchen, still, composed, like she had already processed everything I was only just beginning to understand. I asked, what's his name? Chris, she said. Of course. Just a normal name. That always feels wrong. Because something that breaks your life apart should at least feel dramatic. But it never does. How do you know him? Through work, projects, meetings, we just kept talking. That phrase again. We just kept talking. Like it didn't require a decision. Like it wasn't a shift. How long have you known you were leaving? I asked. She didn't answer immediately. And that silence told me more than anything else. A while, she said. I nodded. Before him, I said. She looked at me, then nodded. Yes. That hit harder than anything else. Because it meant this wasn't about him. He didn't take her from me. He walked into a space that had already been empty. I sat down slowly. The chair felt heavier than it should have. So what was I doing this whole time? I asked. She frowned slightly. What do you mean? I was here, I said. Working. Showing up. Living this life. I looked at her. And you're already leaving. She didn't argue. I didn't know how to say it, she said. That answer felt small compared to what it covered. You didn't know how to say it, I repeated. No. So you said nothing, I said. She looked down. Yes. And that was it. That's how a marriage ends sometimes. Not with words. With silence. I leaned back slightly. Looked around the kitchen. Everything was the same. Same table. Same chairs. Same life. But it felt different. Like I was standing in a version of it that had already expired. Did you ever plan to stay? I asked. That question surprised her. What? Did you ever actually plan to fix this? I said. She hesitated. And that hesitation was the answer. I tried, she said. I know, I said. And I meant it. Because I remembered. Every small moment. Every time she tried to pull me into something deeper. And every time I stayed surface level. I thought we were fine, I said. She nodded. I know. That answer again. That quiet confirmation that I had missed something important. We sat in silence. And then I asked the question that mattered most. Are you willing to stop seeing him? That changed everything. Because now, there was no more middle ground. No more explanation. Just a choice. She looked at me. And I saw it immediately. Not guilt. Not confusion. Fear. But not of losing me. Of losing him. I don't know how to just turn that off, she said. That hit harder than anything else. Because it meant this wasn't just a mistake. It was something real to her. Something she didn't want to lose. And in that moment, I understood something I wish I had understood earlier. Most relationships don't end when someone new shows up. They end when one person stops being part of the other's future. Everything else just follows. Upstairs, I heard footsteps. Lucas. Then Maya. They appeared in the hallway. Half asleep. Confused. Why are you guys still up? Maya asked. Jenna answered too quickly. Why are you up? They looked between us. Kids always know. Not details, but energy. Are you guys okay? Lucas asked. That question again. Not what happened. Not who did what. Are we okay? The family. The structure. I felt something shift inside me. Because in that moment, this wasn't about me anymore. It was about them. I stood up slowly. We love you, I said. That hasn't changed. Maya looked at Jenna. Jenna nodded quickly. Always. Lucas didn't look convinced. But he nodded. Okay, he said. Flat. And they went back upstairs. We listened to their doors close. And then the silence came back. Heavier than before. Because now, it wasn't just between us. I sat back down. Jenna stayed standing for a second, then sat across from me. And, for the first time, we didn't feel like a couple. We felt like two people, at the end of something. If you're watching this, and something in your relationship feels off, not broken, just quieter, more distant, less connected, don't ignore it. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait for messages. Don't wait for that moment when everything becomes obvious. Because by then, you're not discovering the problem. You're discovering how long it's already been there. Jenna betrayed me. That's true. But the part that stays with me is this. By the time I realized something was wrong, my wife wasn't deciding whether to leave. She had already built a life. That didn't include me in it.